Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you. I'm glad, make sure the timer's on. I'm glad that you have come back for chapter 18 and chapter 19. When we left last, Augustus Gloop, not being able to control his hunger and his wanting belly, fell into the chocolate river. He had been bending down, head over, body on the ground, bank, head over the, drinking the river, and then lapping it up like a dog. Couldn't get enough of it. He fell in. Everybody's freaking out, especially Mom Gloop. The tubes, the big glass tubes that suck the chocolate from the river and take the chocolate to, different parts of the factory, got him, sucked him under, sucked him up the pipe. He got stuck in the pipe. Everybody's watching. Mama Gloop is losing her mind, as mamas would with their kid, their voracious kid, with his voracious appetite being sucked up the tube. And finally, pressure built up behind him, and he shot up through the tube, and he was gone. Where did he go? He went to the fudge room. Mr. Walker called one of his Oompa Loompas, and the Oompa Loompa came and took Mrs. Gloop and Mr. Gloop to their son, and Mr. Wonka assured them and everyone else that no harm would come to little Augustus. However, he would be changed because of this. Hopefully he learned a lesson. But anyway, so Augustus is gone, the Gloops are gone, and we are continuing the adventure. Chapter 18. Oh, and before we get to chapter 18, I wanted to show you, I neglected to, you have to forgive me, I'm going to try to remember to always show you these awesome pictures. That's the picture of Mrs. Gloop, screaming and hollering, "Where is my child? You must get my child back. Where is my Augustus?" Screaming at Mr. Wonka about her son. And great artwork. I just love it. Chapter 18 is entitled Down the Chocolate River. So, without further ado, let us get started. "Off we go," said Mr. Wonka. "Hurry up, everybody. Follow me to the next room. And please don't worry about Augustus Gloop. He's bound to come out in the wash. They always do, you know. We shall have to make the next part of the journey by boat. Here she comes. Look." Steamy mist was rising up now from the great warm chocolate river, and out of the mist there appeared suddenly a most fantastic pink boat. It was a large open rowboat with a tall front and a tall back, kind of like a biking ship of old, and it was of such a shining, sparkling, glistening pink color that the whole thing looked as though it were made of bright pink glass. There were many oars on either side of it, and as the boat came closer, the watchers on the bank, on the river bank, could see the oars were being pulled by masses of Oompa Loompas, at least 10 of them on each oar. "This is my private yacht," cried Mr. Wonka, beaming with pleasure. "I made her by hollowing out an enormous boiled sweet. Isn't she beautiful? See how she comes cutting through the river." The gleaming pink boiled sweet boat glided up the river bank. 100 Oompa Loompas rested on their oars and stared up at the visitors. Then suddenly, for some reason best known to themselves, they all burst into shrieks of laughter. "What's so funny over there?" said Violet Beauregard. "Oh, Violet, don't worry about them," cried Mr. Wonka. "They're always laughing. They think everything's a colossal joke. Come on, jump into the boat. All of you, come, hurry up." As soon as everyone was safely in, the Oompa Loompas pushed the boat away from the bank and began to row swiftly downriver. "Oh, hey there, Mike TV," shouted Mr. Wonka. "Please do not lick the boat with your tongue. It'll only make it stickier." "Daddy," cried Veruca, "Daddy, I want a boat like this, and I want you to buy it for me, a big pink boat, boiled sweet boat, just exactly like Mr. Wonka's, and I want lots of them Oompa Loompas to roll me about. And I want a chocolate river, and I want. She wants a good swift kick in the pants, said Grandpa Joe to Charlie. The old man was sitting in the back of the boat, and little Charlie Bucket was right beside him. Charlie was holding tightly onto his grandfather's bony old hand. He was in a whirl of excitement. Everything that he had seen so far, the great chocolate river, the waterfall, the huge sucking pipes, the candy meadows, the Oompa Loompas, the beautiful pink boat, and most of all, Willy Wonka himself, had been so astonishing that he began to wonder whether there could possibly be any more astonishments left. Where were they going now? What were they going to see? And what in the world was going to happen in the next room? "Isn't it marvelous?" said Grandpa Joe, grinning at Charlie. "Isn't it wonderful?" Charlie nodded and smiled up at the old man. Suddenly, Mr. Wonka, who was sitting in Charlie's other side, reached down into the bottom of the boat and picked up a large mug, dipped it into the river, filled it with chocolate, and handed it to Charlie. "Drink this," he said. "It'll do you good. You look starved to death." And then Mr. Wonka filled a second mug and gave it to Grandpa Joe. "You too," he said. "Drink it. You look like a skeleton. What's the matter? Hasn't there been anything to eat in your house lately?" "Not much," said Grandpa Joe. Charlie put the mug to his lips. The rich, warm, creamy chocolate ran down his throat and into his empty tummy. His whole body from head to toe began to tingle with pleasure, and a feeling of intense happiness spread over him. "You like it?" said Mr. Wonka. "Oh, it's wonderful," said Charlie. "The creamiest chocolate ever." "Oh, I agree," said Grandpa Joe. "The creamiest, loveliest chocolate I've ever tasted." "That's because it's mixed by waterfall," Mr. Wonka told him. Here is a picture of the pink boat made out of a big, gigantic pink sweet. It's just a big piece of candy. And, of course, leave it to one of those other kids, Mike TV, licking the boat. How disgusting is that? The boat sped down the river. The river was getting narrower. There was some kind of dark tunnel ahead, a great round tunnel that looked like an enormous pipe, and the river was running right into that tunnel, and so was the boat. "Row on!" shouted Mr. Wonka, jumping up and waving his stick in the air. "Full speed ahead!" And with the Oompa Loompas rowing faster than ever, the boat shot into the dark, black, pitch tunnel, and all the passengers screamed with excitement. "How can they see where they're going? How can they see it?" said Violet in the darkness. "Oh, there's no knowing where they're going," cried Mr. Wonka, hooting with laughter. "There's no earthly way of knowing which direction they are going. There's no knowing where they're rowing or which way the river's flowing. Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing. For the rowers keep on rowing, and they certainly are not showing any signs that they are slowing." "He's off his rocker," shouted one of the fathers, aghast, and the other parents joined in the chorus of frightening shouting. "He's crazy," they shouted. "He's balmy. He's nutty. He's screwy. He's batty. He's dippy. He's dotty. He's daffy. He's goofy. He's beany. He's buggy. He's wacky. He's loony." "Now, no, he's not," said Grandpa Joe. "Switch on the lights." "Switch them on now," said Mr. Wonka, and suddenly on came the lights, and the whole tunnel was brilliantly lit up, and Charlie could see that they were indeed inside a gigantic pipe, and the great upward curving walls of the pipe were pure white and spotlessly clean. The river of chocolate was flowing very fast inside the pipe, and the Oompa Loompas were all rowing like crazy, and the boat was rocking along at a furious pace. Mr. Wonka was jumping up and down in the back of the boat and calling to the rowers to row faster, faster still. He seemed to love the sensation of whizzing through the white tunnel in a pink boat on a chocolate river, and he clapped his hands and laughed and kept glancing at his passengers to see if they were enjoying as much as he was. "Look, Grandpa," cried Charlie. "There's a door in the wall." It was green, and it was set into the wall of the tunnel just above the level of the river. As they flashed past it, there was just enough time to read the writing on the door. It said, "Storeroom number 54. All the creams: dairy cream, whipped cream, violet cream, coffee cream, pineapple cream, vanilla cream, hair cream, hair cream. You don't use hair cream, do you?" said Mike TV. "Row on!" shouted Mr. Wonka. "There's no time for silly questions." They streaked past a black door, storeroom number 71, and it said, "Whips, all shapes and sizes." "Whips? What on earth would you need whips for?" asked Veruca Salt. "Well, for whipping cream, of course," Mr. Wonka said. "How can you whip cream without whips? Whipped cream isn't whipped cream at all, unless it's been whipped with whips. Just as a poached egg isn't poached egg, unless it's been stolen from the woods in the dead of night. Row on, please." They passed a yellow door on which it said, "Storeroom 77. All the beans: cacao beans, coffee beans, jelly beans, and has-beens." "Has-beens? What's that?" "Oh, you're one yourself," said Mr. Wonka. "There's no time for arguing. Press on." 5 seconds later, when a bright red door came into sight, he suddenly waved his gold-tipped cane in the air and shouted, "Stop the boat!" The inventing room: everlasting gobstoppers and hair toffee. Well, that's it for chapter 18. So, they certainly were on almost like a carnival ride, boat ride, moving fast, going into a dark tunnel. How adventurous! And all of these doors they pass with all of these workrooms where they make creams and they make different kinds of candies. Let me see if I bypassed any artwork. Nope, we've seen the boat. Chapter 19, the inventing room: everlasting gobstoppers and hair toffee. When Mr. Wonka shouted, "Stop the boat!" the Oompa Loompas jammed their oars into the river, backed the water furiously, and then the boat stopped. The Oompa Loompas guided the boat alongside the red door. On the door it said, "Inventing room, private, keep out." Mr. Wonka took a key from his pocket, leaned over the side of the boat, and put the key into the lock and turned it. "This is the most important room in the entire factory," he said. "All of my most secret new inventions are cooking and simmering in here. Old Ficklegruber would give his front teeth to be allowed inside here for just 3 minutes. Oh. So would Prodnose and Slugworth and all the other rotten chocolate makers. But now you must listen to me. I want no messing about when you go in, no touching, no meddling, no tasting. Is that agreed?" Yes, yes, the children agreed. "We won't touch anything." "Up to now," Mr. Wonka said, "no one else, not even an Oompa Loompa, has ever been allowed in here." He opened the door and stepped out of the boat into the room. The 4 children and their parents all scrambled after him. "Don't touch!" shouted Mr. Wonka, "and don't knock anything over." Charlie Bucket stared around the gigantic room in which he now found himself. The place was like a witch's kitchen. All about him, black metal pots were boiling and bubbling on huge stoves, and kettles were hissing, and pans were sizzling, and strange iron machines were clanking and sputtering, and there were pipes running all over the ceiling and walls, and the whole place was filled with smoke, steam, and delicious, rich smells. This is what the room looked like inside. There certainly is a whole lot of stuff. You can see Charlie here. You can see a bunch of pots and all kinds of, everything's connected. There's steam and there's smoke and there's delicious, yummy smells. Absolutely. Mr. Wonka himself had suddenly become even more excited than usual. And anyone could see that this was the room he loved best of all. He was hopping about amongst the saucepans and the machines like a child among his Christmas presents, not knowing which thing to look at first. He lifted the lid from a huge pot and took a sniff. And then he lifted the lid from a huge pot and did it again. And he rushed over and dipped a finger into a barrel of sticky yellow stuff and had a taste. Oh. And he skipped across to one of the other machines and turned half a dozen knobs this way and that, and then he peered anxiously through the glass door of the gigantic oven, rubbing his hands and cackling with delight. Then he ran over to another machine, a small shiny affair that kept going foot, 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 foot. And every time it went foot, a large green marble dropped out of it into a basket on the floor. At least it looked like a marble. Foot, foot, foot. Everlasting gobstoppers, said Mr. Wonka proudly. They're completely new. I'm inventing them for children who are given very little pocket money. You can put one everlasting gobstopper in your mouth, and you can suck it all day long. It will never get any smaller. It's like gum. It is, said Violet Beauregard. It is not like gum, said Mr. Wonka. Gum is for chewing, and if you tried chewing one of these gobstoppers, you'd break your teeth off. But they taste terrific, and they change color once a week, and they never, ever get any smaller. Never, ever. They never disappear. Never. At least I don't think they do. Well, there's one of them being tested this very moment in the testing room next door. And Oompa Loompa is sucking on it. He's been sucking it for nearly a year now without stopping, and it's still just as good as ever. Now, come over here, said Mr. Wonka. He went on, skipping excitedly across the room to the opposite wall. Over here, I'm inventing a completely new line of toffees. And he stopped beside a large saucepan. The saucepan was full of a thick, gooey, purplish treacle, boiling and bubbling. By standing on his toes, little Charlie could see just inside the pan. That's hair toffee, cried Mr. Wonka. You just eat only one tiny bit of that, and in exactly half an hour, a brand new, luscious, thick, silky, beautiful crop of hair will start growing all over the top of your head, and a moustache, and a beard. Oh, if only this weren't fiction. Mr. Mac would love to have that hair toffee. Not so much for here, but, for here. That would be great. A beard? Cried Veruca Salt. Who wants a beard? For heaven's sake, who would want a beard? Oh, I think it would suit you very well, said Mr. Wonka. But unfortunately, the mixture's not quite right yet. I got it too strong. Works too well. I tried it on an Oompa Loompa yesterday and in the testing room, and immediately a huge beard started shooting out of his chin, and the beard grew so fast that soon it was trailing all over the floor in a thick, hairy carpet. It was growing so fast that we couldn't keep up with cutting it. In the end, we had to use a lawnmower to keep it in check. But I'll get the mixture right soon. I will. And when I do, there'll be no excuse for any more of little boys and girls going around with bald heads. Aye, but Mr. Wonka, said Mike TV, little boys and little girls don't have any baldy heads. They're too young for that. Don't argue, dear boy. Please don't argue. It's such a waste of precious time, said Mr. Wonka. Now, over here. If you will all step this way, I will show you something that I'm terrifically proud of. Oh, do be careful. Don't knock anything over. Now, stand back. That's the end of chapter 19. So there we are. And here is the Oompa Loompa who had some of that hair toffee. His big old long beard and them trying to keep it cut It is, with every snip, with every cut, more grows in. It's amazing. As I said, Mr. Mack would love to have that for the top of my head. I would. All right, so everyone is still together. Everyone is still there. We've only lost Augustus Gloop. Lots of things to see. The kids have seen lots of things we've seen and been privy to. The everlasting gobstopper. How awesome would that be to have a piece of candy that you could keep forever? And but why do you think Mr. Wonka, when he told them about the everlasting gobstopper, he said it'll last forever, forever and ever? And then he said, but at least I think so. He said he has an Oompa Loompa in the testing room who's been sucking on one for a year now, and it's still exactly the same size, tastes exactly the same, quite delicious. But why do you think when he said, these last forever, and then he said, well, I think they last forever, I think so. Why do you think he said that? You think about that, and if I recall, when we come back, I'll ask you. There's a good reason why I think he said, at least I think they last forever. Why would he say that? Think about it. When we come back, I'll ask you if you figured it out. Take care. Stay safe. When you go out, stay masked. Keep your hands away from your eyes, nose, and mouth. Do some creative stuff. Invent something. Make your own candy. Why not? Don't be like Augustus Gloop. Don't be greedy and gluttonous. And if you're not sure what gluttonous is, think about Augustus Gloop. He was very gluttonous. And don't be that. And, don't be like the other children, except for Charlie. Don't lick a boat, even if it's made of candy. Don't do that. Ew. Take care. I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.